Shift change at the Panopticon sounds like nothing at all, just the tiny click of my badge registering level 3 access and the drawl of the energy monitors realigning to my heartbeat. The Panopticon Authority built this whole reality bubble so silence could do most of the talking. Keep the gods quiet, keep the guards quieter. Officially, the place is a pocket facility for metaphysical containment, a fortress carved out of nowhere and anchored to an old neutrino observatory in the Atacama Desert. Unofficially, it's a daycare for things that can scribble over physics when they cry. I'm one of the night watchmen, Containment Officer Cormac Fenlon, Level 3, penitent all the way down to the marrow. The title sounds vigilant, but the job is mostly staring at numbers that shouldn't move. My perch is a bowl-shaped console buried halfway along a corridor so long it feels curved. Screens float above the desk like cut windows into other nightmares. They display energy spikes, causal drift, and a single blue waveform labeled Subject 12, harmonic stabilizer output. Subject 12 is kinder than the guardroom nickname, the Child King. Think of an infant who can rebuild the room out of its own daydreams. Porcelain body the size of a small hill, limbs that pop in and out like perfect geometric toys, mood swings that rewrite local reality before gravity can complain. The stabilizer, the music box, keeps the little monarch dozing. It isn't gears and bells, it's a tower of crystal and field coils that plays a layered frequency, a blanket made of lullaby and math. When the music runs, we get peace. When it stops, the god wakes and forgets how small the world thinks it is. Most nights I let procedure do the thinking. My thoughts stay clipped and bloodless because strong feelings in here can bounce back in ways nobody can afford. Even a stray memory is a hazard. Still, the mind wanders. Mine keeps circling Highway 12. Rain on asphalt, the patient strapped in a car seat, her sneakers lighting up each time she kicked impatience at me. I told her I'd be right back. I wasn't. She died before dawn. 5 years later, the sound rides in my skull like a stuck metronome. Halfway through the shift, the metronome slips into reality. A playful giggle threads the corridor behind me, wind chimes kissed by a warped recording of a laugh. The monitors tremor. The blue waveform dips once, twice, then gutters to zero. A single red line slants across the screen. Stabilizer offline. For a heartbeat, I do nothing. Exactly how training says to start. Assess, confirm, report. But the corridor lights dim a shade, like the building has sucked in its breath. Silence deepens and the console's built-in respirators cut in with a low shiver. I can smell copper under the ozone scrub, which shouldn't be possible. The air is stripped of scent for the same reason our words stay clipped. Less material for a tantrum to grab. I tap the comm. Control Fenlon. Harmonic readout just flatlined, confirming breach conditions. A baritone answers, calm as an instructional video. Pike here. Full spectrum harmonic failure confirmed. Proceed to cell 12 and initiate manual reset. I'll walk you through. Merritt Pike, lead systems engineer, the man who calls a god an unstable power source, the man on the safe side of every wall. His stylus clicks in the background, like he's timing my pulse instead of responding to it. Copy, I tell him, even though the distance between here and cell 12 is a mile of curving corridor designed to make sense only when reality behaves. I stand, flex my hands and feel the ache in my knuckles. The ache that reminds me I'm still a paramedic under the uniform, someone meant to fix things. The first step away from the console feels like stepping off a curb you didn't see. The corridor ahead wavers, just slightly, but enough for the overhead panels to stutter. They flare white, then plunge to crimson. Emergency protocol. Doors obey the alarm, slamming in sequence until the hall behind me is a solid wall, the one ahead still open like a dare. The status strip beside it scrolls a fresh word in frantic red letters. Forward. That's new. We don't project motivational slogans on containment doors. Light overhead snaps to deeper red and stays there. The sector has repaged the map in the simplest language it thinks I'll obey. Forward only. Back is gone. I'm alone with the god's first stirrings, the smell of copper where no rust exists, and the memory of that night drifting just out of sight. Pike's voice comes through the comm again. "Officer Fenlon, confirm movement towards cell 12. I start walking, boots loud in the blood-red light, and let the door spool shut behind me. "En route," I say, and feel the words balance on a knife edge. In a place where language can grow teeth, each sentence is a potential misfire. But procedure is muscle memory, and right now procedure is the only thing holding my thoughts together. The corridor tightens to a single-person throat. Ahead, the blue status line around cell 12's faceplate warps, swelling and shrinking like something breathing behind glass. I keep moving. There's no air left in the place for indecision. One more step and I'm over the threshold into Sector 12. The bulkhead slams down behind me with a sound like a vault locking. Lights above me surge fully red, bathing everything in alarm light. The monitors on the inner wall glitch, spitting streams of unreadable characters that smear across the screens like wet ink. Somewhere in the direction of the nursery, a child's voice giggles again. Soft, curious, delighted. I'm sealed in with whatever comes next, and the music is still off. The red light settles into the metal like a fever. My first step forward peels a tacky sound from the floor, not right, because panopticon walkways are supposed to be dry as chalk. I crouch and touch the surface. My hand comes away slick with something the color of cough syrup. It's not blood. It smells of hot sugar and industrial solvent. Behind me, boots clatter. Officer Dole, fresh-faced, level 1, must have been making his rounds when the bulkheads dropped. "Fenlon, what's the readout?" He jogs up, visor up, eyes wide. Before I can answer, the shining patch beneath him shudders. The walkway's polymer tiles ripple like pudding skin. "Dole, move!" Too late. His right foot sinks ankle deep, then calf deep, the flooring turning gelatinous around him. He thrashes for balance, each jerk drags him lower, the surface closing over his boots with a sloppy kiss. I grab his forearm and haul. The material stretches, strands of cherry-dark goo webbing between us. I brace, plant both heels. The floor decides. It yanks. My grip slips from polymer guard plates smeared glossy. Dole drops fast, hips, chest, shoulders, sinking as if gravity just issued a special warrant. His helmet tilts back, eyes finding mine. "Procedure," he shouts, the word sharp with training. I remember the manual. If a containment anomaly liquefies structural surfaces, sacrifice a limb before risking your life. I'm still holding his gauntlet when the walkway gulps him to the chin. Dole draws one last breath, then the floor swallows it, leaving only a trembling bubble that pops. The surface freezes solid, spotless, like nothing happened. I stare at the perfect tile. My pulse wants to bolt, but I clamp down. Panic is noise, and noise feeds the breach. A memory elbows in, rain-slick asphalt, child seat overturned, a sneaker lighting up. I lock the memory outside my voice. "Control, Fenlon," I rasp. "We've lost an officer. Fluidic surface hazard in Sector 12. Advise." Pike answers fast, voice steady as a metronome. "Hazard confirmed. Log casualty, proceed to cell 12. Do not deviate. Manual reset panel is wall-mounted inside the anteroom. That floor just ate a man. Manual reset," he repeats, as if the words themselves can iron out the world. A click of his stylus ends the call. I wipe Dole's polymer sheen from my hands and keep going. Somehow my boots still find purchase. 10 paces on, the corridor kinks right. At the corner stands a girl of about 7. Narrow shoulders cinched in a mustard-yellow raincoat. A plastic barrette, bright lemon slice, pins her hair. She watches me with calm interest, feet apart like she owns the hallway. Her sneakers are the kind that flash LEDs when they move, but only one light fires, a weak red blink as though the battery refuses to die. I lift a hand, peaceable medic memory kicking in. "You shouldn't be here." She says nothing. Her skin has the pale, porous look of porcelain warmed by a low bulb, and she casts no shadow. The red ceiling lamps glare on everything else, yet slide past her like she's a cutout glued to the scene. I take a single step. The sneaker blink answers. The sound is identical to the one in my head, pitch perfect. "It's all right. I'm Fenlon. We're going to get you somewhere safe." The girl tilts her head, bird-quick, and smiles. A small, apologetic twist. Then she turns, walks into the side wall, and vanishes as if the metal were thin fog. The barrette's yellow flash lingers half a second longer than it should, then blinks out. The corridor is empty again. The bulkhead behind me gives a judder, sealing tighter, steel teeth meeting. The one ahead breathes open an inch, inviting. A status strip next to it scrolls red letters taller than my hand. "Move forward." Not an order pulled from protocol. More like the building learned imperative tense and wants to play teacher. "Forward then," I whisper, and let the door swallow me instead of the floor. A sirenless hush settles the instant the inner bulkhead locks behind me. No more corridor doors in easy reach, just the long red throat of Sector 12 and the thin, cool weight of the stun baton in my fist. I loosen my grip. White-knuckle fear is loud, and this place hears everything. I try a breath. The air tastes like it's been varnished. Sharp, sweet. Tile seams crawl off kilter under the lights, as if the hall were stretched a second too long. The stabilizer chamber sits another 100 meters ahead, but distance feels fluid here, the way nightmares cut up time. "Stay clinical," I remind myself, quoting the field manual to no one. Dole is gone. The girl, whatever she is, walks through walls, and a deity with the emotional range of a toddler is yawning awake. Procedure first, feelings later. Except feelings don't wait. The beeping sound from the girl's sneaker still rings in my skull, sinking with each step. Highway 12 tries to surface. Rain, ambulance lights, that last small cough from the back seat. I push the memory down hard enough that my teeth click. The corridor walls groan, metal shifting like a sleeper turning over. 40 meters. The light strips overhead blink once, red to dull white, then flare red again, brighter, as though the entire hall just took a photo of me. A ripple of heat rolls off the ceiling. Panels behind me snap shut in quick succession, cutting off retreat and sealing in the hot smell of sugar solvent. Pike's voice comes through my earpiece, thin and tinny. "Visual confirms path integrity. Proceed." He stops there. No comfort, just the data. "I'm the only path left," I mutter. My words hang in the corridor, a test line for whatever listens. Nothing answers. Not yet. 20 meters. The stabilizer door stands tall and colorless, a blank slab in the fever-red glow. 10 meters. I lift my hand to the access panel. The metal around it feels warm, like a child's forehead before sickness breaks. 5. The tile under my left heel flexes, as if it's thinking about letting go, but holds. My badge reader chirps. The slab slides a palm's breadth open and stops, waiting for me to earn the rest. Behind me is a corridor that eats evidence. Ahead is a god who rewrites it. Standing here, in the lone midpoint, I feel the whole panopticon tilt on my next step. I take it. The door sighs wider, and red light spills into the cradle where the music died. The chamber breathes heresy. That's the first clear thought I manage after stepping inside. Everything in here obeys a grammar I haven't learned. Cell 12 was designed as a neutral zone, a 30-meter oval, slate walls, and the harmonic stabilizer mounted like a crystal spire at its heart. What I see instead looks half-remembered, half-dreamed. The floor is glossy, scarlet and tacky, as though someone spilled Dole in a single even coat. The spire itself leans, sagging toward the ceiling like wet sugar glass. Its music once laced the air with a gentle 3-note braid. Now the only sound is the hush of my own breathing, loud as a chorus. A warning placard on the inner wall should read, "Stay clear." The letters soften, run together, reform into one blunt verb, run. Semantic bleed, that's the technical term. When the god's subconscious leaks, Words and thoughts stop describing reality and start overwriting it. Training vids called it linguistic contagion. They never mentioned how fast it feels. One blink, and language turns carnivore. The new floor grips my boots like syrup. I step lightly, testing each patch before shifting weight. The placard mutates again. Fall. My pulse jumps, and the scarlet surface liquefies under my next heel strike. It doesn't swallow me, just dips, daring me. I lift the foot, set it down on a firmer spot. Keep moving. A siren rises in the distance, thin, reedy. It isn't the panopticon klaxon. It's the ambulance cry from Highway 12, the one that never got there in time. Metal groans above. A gantry folded into the ceiling twists downward, plates grinding, until it becomes the crumpled hood of my old rig. Steel edges glint wet and ragged, blocking the direct path to the spire. "Stay clinical," I whisper, but the words shake. The hood splits with a dry pop, sprouting rebar ribs that grope the aisle. My earpiece crackles. "Fenland, status," Pike says. His voice carries the bored calm of a man troubleshooting code, not gods. I answer on reflex. "Visual on destabilized chamber." The floor convulses where the sentence ends. Scarlet syrup fountains knee-high. Each droplet snaps mid-air into word fragments, letters rigid and sharp as glass shards. They arrow at my face. I hurl myself sideways, rolling across a patch that feels like ceramic tile and comes away smelling of burnt caramel. A sliver slices my sleeve before thudding into the wall and dissolving. Speech is ammunition here. Every syllable a trigger. I slap the comm toggle, but Pike keeps talking, his feed one way. "Telemetry shows you near the spire base. Confirm." His voice unspools data like cable, each phrase fresh tinder. "No more talking," I hiss. I rip the coil mic from my collar, yank the wire until it snaps. The silence that follows isn't quiet. It's blunt, heavy, safer. My own thoughts still shout, but at least they're caged behind my teeth. The metal wreckage blocking the aisle twitches, trying to remember it was only a walkway once. I skirt the ruin, hugging the wall. The placard verbs keep mutating: drown, burn, shatter. The hallway narrows, walls pressing in like heavy lungs. Then the words freeze, letters locking into a single phrase scrawled 10 feet tall across both walls in a dark, oily smear. Chose wrong. A pressure builds behind the letters. Metal ribs snap inward, tiles buckle, squeezing the corridor closed. There's no space to retreat. The walls herd me forward. A maintenance hatch yawns open ahead, an old service lift meant for archival runs. The inside is lit sulfur yellow, cables shivering as though impatient. I don't need a map to know where it goes. Down. Away from the spire, toward dead records. The figment, whatever intelligence is shaping these taunts, wants me off the main deck. I plant my feet, consider sprinting past the hatch to the spire, but the corridor keeps shrinking, a vice of creaking steel urging one choice. I picture Dole sinking without a trace, the girl stepping through solid alloy, the music box god stirring. One wrong command, one loud emotion, and I jam more chaos into the system. So I pick the lesser gamble. I duck into the maintenance lift just as the corridor seals behind me with a seismic clap. Inside, the cage shivers, cables whining. Floor numbers scroll on a dusty panel. Archives flashes amber, the only option. I breathe once, slow, careful, silent, and tap the lone button. The lift jolts. As it descends, the wall opposite the gate ripples, black letters bubbling up as though written from the other side. "Fenland, find it." The words sheen wet, then drip away into the metal. The lift plunges deeper, carrying me toward whatever answer the figment thinks I need. The lift judders, chains clanking overhead like teeth worrying a bone. Every meter down turns the emergency light a dimmer shade of amber, until my hands glow the dirty color of a street lamp about to die. I keep still, shoulders brushing the cage wall. If thought shapes matter this deep, I want my thoughts small. The cabin shakes. Its side panel ripples, grey metal thinning to a window of grainy dashcam footage. Highway 12 at night, headlights splitting rain. I force myself to watch. The recording jerks, freezes on the overturned sedan, then rewinds on its own, looping. The message is clear. Remember. I count breaths, 12 in, 12 out, until the image bleeds back into steel. The cage thumps to a halt. A gate clanks open, revealing a hallway floored in faded linoleum and lit by bulbs that burn steady but dim. No red alarms, no syrup-slick tiles. The quiet feels like a stage before the curtain lifts. A wooden placard on the wall says, Dead Records Vault 1, in hand-painted letters. Underneath smaller print reads, Paper endures what data cannot. Dead Records is legend among guards, a library that keeps physical copies of every breach, every repair order, every casualty log. Paper can't mutate when gods rewrite syntax, so the authority keeps the truths they fear to forget sealed on shelves. I step inside. The temperature dips, my breath fogs. Rows of steel cabinets stand 8 feet tall, each drawer labelled with crisp black tags. P-series breaches, stabilizer schematics, personnel ends. Their orderliness feels almost cruel after the corridor's insults. A figure rises from a desk at the aisle's heart, a wry smile already fixed in place. He's gaunt, mid-60s, white hair clipped to the scalp, charcoal coat buttoned to the throat. A brass nameplate glints. Crow, archivist. Officer Fenlon, he greets, as if we're old neighbours. His voice is mild, but his eyes tally something I can't see. You've come for the schematic. He didn't ask. He knows. Protocol says the stabilizer override file is archived here. I manage. Crow nods once. Been expecting you. Same hour every cycle. He pivots, strides between cabinets, and returns with a slim craft folder sealed in plastic. Red wax seals the flap, impression of the authority crest pressed deep. He sets it on a blotter and slides a battered leather ledger forward. Sign and date. I open the ledger. The last 5 entries carry my name, Cormac Fenlon, scribbled by hands that look like mine but list dates months, years apart. Each line ends with status, lost in action. My stomach hollows. Is this some trick of the bleed? Crow's smile thins. History, officer. The breach loops. You march in, request the fix, walk out, vanish. We record because someone must. I sign anyway, because not signing feels like erasing myself before the god can. The pen scratches loud in the hush. Crow breaks the wax, slides the schematic free. Inside, a parchment sheet shows the stabilizer tower cut away like a spine. At the base, a red X marks a hatch labelled Manual Heart, Direct Harmonic Seed Reset. A note beneath warns, Operator must maintain physical contact until harmonic curve settles. Projected exposure, lethal. Every cycle they red stamp that line, Crow says. Yet you still go. What would you do? The question slips out before I can cage it. He studies me the way a doctor studies an X-ray, already knowing the fracture. Not the same thing, I hope, but hope is the cheapest resource in this facility. He flips a smaller dossier onto the blotter, fresh, unstamped, my name across the top, blank inside. File starts empty, outcome pending. His meaning lands with the weight of a gavel. The future is a column waiting for one more tally mark, my loss or my break from pattern. A siren wails upshaft, thin and distant. Crow checks a ceiling gauge. A dusty needle swings down to 20%. Containment fields are slipping fast. Better run, Officer Fenlon. They always try to fix the machine. He hands me the schematic. I tuck it inside my vest. The elevator waits open, gate jittering like it hates indecision. I step in, glance back. Crow already sits, dipping a stamp in crimson ink. He doesn't look up. The lift rises, cables thrumming. Halfway, the amber bulb flicks out and the cabin plunges into velvet darkness. My pulse drums in my ears, too loud, too emotional. I force it steady. Light returns, soft, greenish. I'm not alone. The girl from the corridor sits cross-legged on the cage floor, raincoat puddled around her. She watches me with calm inspection, as if measuring how much of me is left. In her lap rests the schematic I just pocketed, but my vest still feels weighted. 2 copies. She lifts the pages like a fragile map, eyes never leaving mine. I kneel, slow. I need that. My whisper barely stirs the air. She offers no words. The chamber around us creaks, metal yearning towards some new form. I reach out, hand sliding through her small wrist as though through cool mist. Cold pricks my bones. The paper feels solid. I tug gently. Resistance, not from her grip, but from my own hesitation. Memories crowd, raincoat sodden with blood, sneaker lights stuttering out. Move, I tell the fear. A single clear command, no apology, no self-hate. My fingers curl and the schematic releases, smooth as silk. The girl smiles, quiet approval, maybe pity, then dissolves, raincoat last to fade. The lift clears the final deck, gates parting on scarlet emergency glow. Sirens hammer overhead. A status display bleeds numbers. Containment down to 15%. Above the din, Pike's voice barks across hallway speakers. Sector implosion probable. Purge sequence on standby. I tuck the paper tight under an arm and step out. The corridor ahead stretches toward the destabilized cradle, tremoring like something breathing through its ribs. Somewhere inside, the Child King stirs, craving a new story. I start running toward the spire. The schematic flutters against my chest, alive with the choice no ledger can predict. This cycle or the next. Break or repeat. The corridor shivers under strobe-red alarms, but my focus narrows to the paper thumping my chest and the taste of brine on my tongue. Old adrenaline, back for another round. Ahead, the hatch to Sector 12 yawns like a bad decision I've already made. Pike's voice barges through ceiling speakers louder than before. Containment at 13%. Remote purge can neutralize the breach. Say the word. Purge is the last switch on the board. Detonate shaped charges. Collapse this wing into glass. Hope the ruin cages the god. A fix that writes us off the ledger for good. I keep running. My boots slap steel that softens to rubber, then to cracked asphalt under rain that isn't there. The air smells of wet tar and cold brake fluid. The night Highway 12 went sideways. Metal groans behind me, folding. When I glance back, the corridor is gone. I stand on an open road lit by ambulance strobes that never arrive. The wrecked sedan sits sideways across both lanes, nose crumpled, steam hissing from a radiator. Its passenger door hangs open like a plea. A heartbeat later, the world jerks, and I'm inside the car, jammed behind the wheel. Seatbelt locks across my chest, ice hard. Dashboard glass prisms stray light. Wipers squeal over spider-webbed glass even though there's no rain. The girl occupies the passenger seat. Yellow barrette, raincoat, same calm eyes. Her sneaker gives a tired beep, LEDs barely glowing. Guilt surges so fast it steals the air. I left her. The door crumples inward, metal screaming as though the accident's still happening. This is the figment's trick. Weaponize the worst memory, make me flinch, make the god flail harder. I dig fingers under the seatbelt. It tightens. Breath comes thin. Sirens somewhere behind us climb pitch. Real facility alarms spliced into this hallucination. One chance, Fenlon, Pike barks over the intercom. Say initiate purge. I blow the sector, and we all live to file reports. His words warp the windshield into scrolling text. Initiate purge, blazing bright, an exit sign for cowards. The seatbelt ratchets tighter, ribs creak, heartbeat hammering so loud the glass almost dances with it. The girl tilts her head. No judgment, just waiting. I meet her eyes and feel the question hanging in the air. Repeat the loop or break it? I answer myself aloud with a single word, firm as bedrock. Move. The word lands like a hammer on thin ice. The entire car shudders, color washing out, outlines trembling. Seatbelt clicks, slackening. Metal breathes backward, uncrumpling. Windshield fractures knit together, leaving only silver lines like old scars. Outside, the fake highway peels away panel by panel, revealing the steel bones of Sector 12. The corridor reforms around me, wider now, its floor solid, dry, patient. The girl is still there, but only as a ripple in the air, a gentle distortion that nods once before blending into the walls. Above, Pike sputters, "What did you just do? Containment spike. Curve is stabilizing?" His calculators can't explain a spoken command rewritten into physics, and I don't have time to brief him. I lift the mic to my lips, thumb poised over transmit, then flip the toggle to mute. A silent answer. No purge. His protests fade into background static as I discard the earpiece. The corridor ahead straightens, clean and bright under steady white strips. At the far end, twin doors part like stage curtains. Beyond lies the stabilizer cradle, its crystal tower sagging, the Child King's vast silhouette stirring against restraints that look thinner than cobweb strand. Fractures skitter through the pillar, light spilling out in threads that bend like soft wire. I step through the doors toward the crib, heart steady, mind clear, voice ready for the next word. The cradle swallows me in white so bright it feels liquid. Walls curve away without seams, as if carved from a single bone. In their center, the harmonic stabilizer lists at a fevered angle, fractured crystal ribs exhaling motes of light. I smell ozone and something sweeter, like warmed milk left too long on a stove. And there, nestled among the snapped tethers, looms the Child King. Its body is a mound of living porcelain, moon-pale and softly glowing, the size of a shuttlecraft turned on its side. The surface rises and sinks with a slow, sleep-thick breath. Where a face should be, the shell bulges and indents beneath a thin skin. A rounded swell of delight, then a jagged crease of uncertainty, then a whirlpool spiral of distress, each shape blooming and fading like hands pushing against elastic cloth. No eyes, no mouth, just feelings made flesh. Crystalline anchors once held the god in place. Now they tremor, spider-cracked, leaking filaments of raw sound. Each break spits a stray chord that skitters across the cell like a shaken piano string. The music box hasn't merely stopped, it's bleeding notes. A sound follows, wind chimes stitched to a warped child's laugh. It spills from the core of the being, playful, then rises in pitch until it vibrates the bones in my wrists. I steady my breath, pocket the schematic, and step onto the white floor. The god notices, not me, but the emotion I drag behind me like a chain. A cylinder of flawless bone white slides from its flank, ending in a perfect sphere the size of my torso. Another limb extrudes, an obsidian pyramid balanced point down, defying any sense of weight. Geometry learns to crawl. Both appendages sway with dreamlike grace, arranging themselves between me and the stabilizer pillar. I keep moving, boots whispering on the smooth surface. Rule of proximity bleeds strongest near the thinker. So I bury every errant thought under one determined beat. Protect. I picture the word like a shield, simple and bright. The sphere limb twitches, uncertain. The pyramid tilts, edge glinting. A ripple rolls through the porcelain hill. Fear? Excitement? The god mirrors whatever leaks from me, and right now my pulse sits on a knife edge between courage and panic. A giggle, two notes rising, cascades through the room. The sphere lashes sideways, too quick for physics. I flatten as it scythes overhead, the air parting with a bass drum thud. It smashes a support strut behind me. Shards cartwheel into nothingness. The stabilizer creaks, leaning farther. I spring upright. Move, I whisper. Same word that broke the highway illusion. The geometric limb hesitates as if passing orders. The porcelain mass shivers, bulge forming into a soft arc, amused. With a liquid pop, the sphere retracts back into the body, absorbed like a toy flung aside. The pyramid follows. For a breath, the crib is still. The schematic's red X burns in my memory. Hatch at the pillar base. I sprint. Each step feels like stomping across thin glass, but the floor holds. 10 meters, 5, then I'm at the crystal tower. Up close, the crackled facets glow from within, cores of static lightning thrumming in cages too tired to hold them. A panel at shin height slides open of its own accord. The words "manual heart" shimmer across the reveal in ghostlight, then crumble into loose symbols. Inside lies a fist-sized socket, quartz lining splintered but intact. A pulse of heat rolls out, baking my face. One touch will start the reset curve, but only if I stay connected until the frequency stabilizes. The ledger's fatal stamp flashes in my mind. Operator must maintain physical contact until harmonic curve settles. Projected exposure, lethal. Crow's empty column waits for a verdict. Behind me, the Child King emits a noise that is half sob, half thunder. New limbs bloom, bone-white cylinders, prismatic cones, skittering across the white toward me like toddlers hungry for attention. The god isn't angry, it's desperate, reaching for the brightest signal in the room, my resolve or my terror. I plant a knee, slip my hand into the socket, and feel raw frequency bite like ice fire. Light flares up the pillar, a climbing scale of notes too layered for any instrument. The god pauses, sensing something new, a lullaby trying to restart. The first harmonic surges, stutters. My vision tunnels. The limb shapes quiver, indecisive. If I blink now, if I doubt, the lullaby breaks again. So I lock eyes with the blank canvas of its non-face and think the single clearest thought I own: protect. Porcelain ripples. Lines of agitation smooth to a calm swell. The limbs retract half an inch, hovering. The harmonics climb, slipping on cracked facets, but climbing. Heat drips down my spine. Somewhere behind the blank wall of sound I feel the next hurdle. Second harmonic curve. The point where most operators die, Crow said. The god's surface shimmers with wavering shapes, confusion, curiosity, a trace of comfort it can't yet name. Stay. Just stay. The limb tips pause, hovering like polite question marks. The tower's cracks begin to braid together in threads of pale fire. And then a distant boom rattles the chamber doors, external bulkheads compromising under containment loss. The whole facility gives a coughing lurch. My focus wavers. Porcelain turbulences sharpen, panic mirrored. A blade-thin prismatic limb darts toward my chest. Hold the socket or dodge and lose everything. I grit my teeth, press palm deeper, sparks blow, scorching skin. The limb halts a centimeter short, trembling. Second harmonic lock engages. I feel it, less a sound than a deep bone chord. But outside, structural alarms chorus beyond the cell. Another system failing, dragging the panopticon closer to cascade collapse. I don't break eye contact with the featureless face. Almost there, I breathe, though my voice barely rides the roar. The limb withdraws, slow now as if soothed. The god's shell softens to a single round bulge, like a sleepy eye closing. Third harmonic ramp begins, final curve, longest 30 seconds of any engineer's life. My arm shakes. Behind the god, a section of ceiling bows inward, power conduits giving way. Sparks shower white floor like falling stars. If the roof caves before the curve completes, the dream ends in rubble. In the field of my vision, yellow catches. A tiny plastic barrette resting on the porcelain surface near a tether. No girl attached, just the symbol, placed with gentleness. A reminder or a blessing, I can't tell. I fix on it, let the meaning fold into my mantra. Protect the living and the memory alike. The tower's light climbs, steady now, a sunrise refracted through ice. 20 seconds, nerves screaming. Behind me, metal fractures again. A wave of dust rolls across the floor, cutting sight to a grey fog. 15 seconds. The Child King's limbs withdraw fully. The porcelain body settles, breathing slow. The barrette sinks into the shell, absorbed like a toy put away. 10. A sob, steel groaning under weight, shakes the vault. I bite down a cry as voltage drills my bones. If I give the pain a name, the bleed will make it real. So I stay wordless. 5. A chord blossoms, 3 pure notes braided into one. The stabilizer's cracks fuse shut, light smoothing down its length until it shines like a new icicle under dawn. 0. The tower sings, gentle, layered, complete. The socket releases, and I slump back, palm blistered. The room dims to a calm pearl glow. Porcelain mound rises in a slow inhale, then rests. Silence, the good kind. Somewhere overhead, alarm lights shift from red to amber. The god sleeps. The cell doors part behind me, revealing a corridor rimed with dust and half-lit emergency strips. A path outward. I shoulder through the parting doors. The corridor beyond looks as if a hard wind passed through. Wall panels buckled, floor tiles crazed with hairline cracks, emergency strips shedding tired light. But the air holds steady, neither warping nor whispering. The god's breath no longer brushes the walls. Far down the passage, my abandoned console still glows, blue graphs easing toward normal. Above, alarm lamps settle on a calm, amber wash. I walk, boots crunching bits of quartz the stabilizer shed when it cracked. Where Officer Dole vanished, the tiles remain smooth as glass, no stain, no seam, yet I feel the absence like a bruise. The comm panel beside the bulkhead clicks alive. Pike's voice comes through, hushed, stunned. Containment nominal, manual reset confirmed. For once, no order follows. I answer with quiet breath and keep going. At the junction leading topside, a fresh reader scans my badge. The name still says Fenlon, but a new line blinks beneath. Level 4, Guardian. The door unlocks without complaint. I step into the lift and ride up, palm bandaged, mind weightless, carrying only the memory of a yellow beret sinking into porcelain like a seed. 3 weeks later, the Panopticon runs on half-staff and double caution. Repair crews shore up hairline fractures with resin plates and tuned field coils. Gear built to bend rather than break when the next anomaly stirs. The Child King sleeps behind reinforced song, the lullaby now braided with a single-word refrain I wrote into the control script. Protect. Pike visits my recovery bay once, offers a clipboard and an apology too technical to feel. He now lobbies for live operator overrides instead of quick-draw purges. I sign the proposal, and he does not flinch. In Dead Records, Crow replaces a row of red stamps with one neat entry in blue. Fenlon survived, status pending. He lets the ink dry before closing the ledger, as if afraid the word might wander. A memorial alcove near Sector 12 bears Dole's badge pinned to the wall. No plaque, just the patch of polished floor beneath it, left untouched. I stand there some nights, listening to nothing in particular, and feel the lullaby farther below, steady as a resting pulse. The Directorate offers me rotation topside. Clear air, no gods, but I stay. My shift begins the hour lights dim to quiet silver. I make rounds with the new recruits, teach them the rule no manual prints bold enough. Your thoughts are part of the room, keep them honest. When they ask why I still limp towards cell 12 every night, I tell them, the place remembers stories, and I'm learning to write better endings. Sometimes, walking the hush-lit corridors, I catch a faint beep at the edge of hearing. Soft, friendly, gone before the next footstep. I take it as a reminder. The cycle broke once. It can break again, toward light instead of loss. And somewhere deeper than any map, a porcelain hill dreams on, cradled by music that knows its name.